if my clients really want to do it, I'm doing it, right? I'm going to do what they want. I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not going to say like, you need to write a letter. It's going to help you, just write an awesome offer and you'll probably get it, right? Follow my guide as far as you should do this, 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 and this. You'll probably win. If you don't, the love letter is not going to do anything.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about why listing feedback doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Love letters are now banned in this state, and Michigan's boathouse that isn't really a boat. Are you a fan? Or is this a little too cheese for your liking? Mm-hmm. First of all, let's start with listing feedback doesn't matter. This is an article from Inman.com, an opinion piece. The title of the article says, listing feedback doesn't matter. Stop worrying about it. Before I get into the article, Shawn, what's your overall thought on listing feedback? What do you tell your sellers? What do you do as a buyer's agent?
I always preface it with listing feedback is difficult to get, right?
Why is that?
Because the last thing that somebody wants to do is go tour, say, 10 houses and then come back and in every house give feedback. I mean, it's not their job to give you feedback. So it's not like, hey, and, before this all happened, you had to call for feedback, call that agent, hey, what'd you think? That is more valuable than just a questionnaire of 5 questions and everybody's just like, whatever, right? So I think talking to an agent is a lot more valuable, but let's be real. Agents are busy. We don't really want to talk all on the phone all day after we're done doing that because we have a lot of other things to do. We don't want to talk about each thing. And a lot of times when you go show a lot of houses, it's really difficult to remember each house because, some you're in and out. You don't know exactly remember which address was what and blah, blah, blah. And some people would just say, hey, what'd you think of 321 Matt Boulevard? Can you give me a little bit more information than that? Because I can't remember what it looked like, And that's never a good sign, right? You're always going to remember the house that they liked. So the listing feedback forms that we use now, which are great because it lessens my job in that regard. But at the same time, I'm not getting the true feedback that really matters. I think that these forms, you can tailor the questions in those forms, but most agents are tired. They're not going to fill it out. And 2, probably not going to give you the best feedback that will really help your clients. So
the gist of the article is basically comes down to the feedback probably isn't that relevant to your seller, i.e., on a scale of 1 to 5, Shawn was mentioning the feedback forms. Buyer's agents, they get automatically emailed feedback forms. Was it 30 minutes after a showing? And then if they don't fill that out, it's every 24 hours, 5 times, 5 emails. And one of the common questions is, compared to other homes, how well does this home show? Scale of 1 to 5, 5 being much better, 1 being much worse. And the article says, well, without knowing the other houses that they're seeing, a 4 or a 3 doesn't really mean much for the seller. And there's certain things that I agree with in this article, and there's certain things that I disagree with.
Sure.
And when it comes to listing feedback, I think it boils down to this. Whatever the feedback is, just add for the price. So you think the kitchen is outdated, for the price. You think the bedroom is too small, for the price. Because if it was priced lower, it's going to sell. Agents love to retort and say, well, my feedback is that we didn't write a contract on it, so that's the feedback. Well, sometimes you go into a house and it smells terrible. Sometimes you go in and the door was unlocked before you got there. Sometimes you go in and there's a dead animal in the attic. So yeah, feedback can definitely help, but I certainly understand if you are a buyer's agent and you are pursuing a property for your client and they're interested and the feedback form asks you, hey, is this property underpriced, overpriced, or about right priced? You're not necessarily going to give the most truthful answer when it comes to maybe, your negotiating leverage.
Absolutely. When it comes to price, I rarely will give an answer to that. I usually skip that question, and we can skip the questions. And usually these feedback forms come to us in an email and via text, and it's usually 5 questions. You can tailor those questions. But the price one, you have to be really wary of, because number one, I personally, if I'm not writing on it, I'll be honest. But number two, if I am writing on it, there's no way I'm going to tell you what I think where you should be priced, right? And not only that, you'll get feedback from some people. This happened to me this week. We got some feedback, and the guy said, "Hey, I feel that this is overpriced." All right, and we just dropped the price $10,000, and my clients naturally were like, overpriced, like, what are you talking about? But, he ended up saying that his clients were interested, but they were too low, right? So, that's their opinion. A lot of times when a buyer's agent will say, hey, you're too high, to try to negotiate, right, that angle and say, hey, you're too high, we're going to come in here. But in the end, it's a bottom line thing, right? And if your client isn't willing to come up to the price that we need you to, then it's probably not going to work.
I like this one from the article. The author states, personally, I've never understood the value of getting several opinions from several agents about the property, especially without knowing where those agents work and what their experience level is. Now, getting opinions is great, but we want to be very careful about who we are picking and choosing our advice from, because if you have an agent and their primary territory is not condos, or is not $2 million house, or is not that neighborhood, that feedback, it could be essentially irrelevant.
It's totally irrelevant, and that happens a lot, because I'll look these agents up and I'm like, Stafford, Shawn and Arlington, and they'll say the price is so high. Well, it's for Stafford, sure, it's high. This is Arlington, and you're paying a lot more price per square foot. So, you have to, and that's another thing is, when I get the feedback, I don't filter it. It goes automatically to my client. So whenever it's filled out, it's like an honest thing. So one thing that they could say, hey, the agent's not doing their job, and then it goes straight to that's why you have to be doing your job and making sure that everything looks good. But them seeing that feedback automatically is a true kind of thing of what that agent's saying. But at the same time, do they really know what they're talking about? So there's a lot of times where I have to call my client and be like, listen, I looked up the agent. They haven't been doing real estate for a long time, and they've only done one transaction. So there's things that you have to kind of debunk on the way through.
How about this one? And they mentioned this in the article, when the agent mentions something specific that the buyer has said, and then the seller takes it personally and then doesn't want to work with that buyer. I've had sellers where we'll get the offer and the seller will say, oh, was this the buyer that commented on my bathroom light fixture? It's something that the seller really likes, that the buyer was like, oh, this is dumb, and then the seller may not want to negotiate with that person. So again, if you're the buyer's agent, maybe you pick and choose what sort of feedback that you want to give if you do end up writing on that property.
Yeah, and there's so many times when I've had bad feedback or just communication with an agent, and then I'll share that with my client, and then those people end up writing, and the clients are pissed. They're pissed, and they don't even want to deal with it. You can totally blow up deals by saying the wrong thing. And hey, I've had in the past so many experiences like this where, I've had clients that just destroy the house, but they're going to write on it. All right, why you destroy? That's not the way to get a lower price, by just, it's being horrible about the property. If you like it, you're going to write on it. So why are you bashing it? Right.
Right.
Is a better way to negotiate than in my opinion. So,
well, this article on Inman.com, I'll list and link it if you're watching on YouTube. It got 17 comments, which is a lot for Inman. And whenever there is a post on Lab Coat Agents or any sort of online group about feedback, you always have the agents that say, it's the buyer's job to give feedback. No. You always have the agents that say, it's the selling agent job to call the buyers, or it doesn't matter anyways. I'm of the realm of, all right, if I drive 30 minutes to a property, show it for 30 minutes, and then drive 30 minutes back, that's an hour and 30 minutes out of my time. I can fill out a 2-minute, survey about the property. I may not give the most accurate information. I may not, nickel and dime and detail every single showing aspect, but I will, in good faith, mostly try to stop the notifications.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But that's the motivating factor, is to try to stop the notifications. But I will, in earnest, do my best to spend 30 seconds to fill out a form to help another agent.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not too good at it, but I've tried. I try. And if I remember the house and I can remember everything about it that my clients thought, then I'll be helpful and try to tell them. And especially there's been times where I was like, yo, there's a leak under your, like telling agents, like, go look at the property. And oftentimes that agent doesn't even respond. And I'm like, all right, dude, I told you to go look under the sink. There's mold.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most divisive topics in real estate. I don't think you can convince someone one way or the other to change sides. It's kind of like politics. Okay. Number 2, this article comes to us from the National Association of Realtors and a few other places. And the article is entitled Oregon Bans Love Letters. Pretty straightforward. This actually happened over summer. We've been meaning to cover it. And we've mentioned love letters before. Do you send them? Do you not send them? Do you tell people not to send them? Do you take them but then not show your sellers? We've gone through that, and I'll list and link that video below. But Oregon has taken the next step, and they have outlawed buyer love letters. So what this means is they are telling buyers agents not to send them, and they are telling seller agents not to send them on to their seller clients if they do end up getting that offer. And the reason being is because they don't want risks with fair housing, because these letters often contain personal information and reveal characteristics of the buyer, such as race, religion, or familial status that could be used knowingly or through an unconscious bias to affect the seller's decision whether or not to accept or reject the offer. Shawn, what are your thoughts on Oregon banning the love letter?
I say write the letter. Write the letter and push it through. I mean, for buyers, if I'm representing a buyer.
You want your seller to get the highest offer for your property.
Yep.
So when you receive a seller love letter,
I don't show them.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. I'm saying as a buyer agent, I'm doing whatever I can to win. I'm writing the letter, right? As a listing agent, I don't really care. I never read them.
Do you send them to your
the whole
client?
Thing. Yeah. If it's in the actual offer, I don't take it out. I just, the offers will come over as a PDF. If you're sending a separate letter, as a separate attachment, I'm probably not sending it, right? But if it's in that single attachment, then I'm forwarding it. But the thing is, is it going to be chosen because of that? Usually not, but there can be an advantage to it, and you might hit all the right points. And yes, there could be biases in this, and that's where you've got to be careful. But go on. I mean, tell us a little bit more about what their decision, why that was.
Yeah, that's that's pretty much it. They wanted to ban the love letters. Now, what was interesting, and this is something that I think we touched on last time, was NAR has not seen any, does not know of any specific lawsuits, any specific issues that have arisen from the buyer love letter.
Exactly. So my opinion is they're going way too far, right? A love letter. Okay, so it says their name, it says what they do, it says kind of their family, whatever. Okay. But discrimination can happen anytime, anywhere, and that's what we're told not to do, and we don't, right? If a client's going to discriminate in their head, they're going to discriminate in their head, and they can do it without the letter, right? They can do it based on a name. They can do it based on, whatever they want to. Listen, these people, if you've ever had clients, right? They get a contract. What are they doing? They're looking up the name of the person on the internet. You know what I mean? Oh, I go to them. They're like, oh yeah, that guy works for this and he does this and he makes this much. It's out there. It's public information, right? So if I'm going to write a letter and you're going to ban me from doing that, but are you going to ban me from showing the names on the contract next, right? I mean, I think it's ridiculous. It's way too far. If you don't want to read the letter, don't read the letter. If you want to read the letter for entertainment, go for it. If you think it's going to sway you, then don't read the letter, because I would say 999 times out of 1,000, you're probably going to choose the highest priced offer, the best offer, right? But there are times when people feel like, hey, I'm a military guy and I want to choose a military guy. It's happened, right? It happens. So I can see where this could go sideways, but at the same time, I think it's going way too far, personally.
How is the buyer love letter going to get the seller the highest offer?
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
But, well, here's how it could, right? I'm thinking as you say this. All right, you know that these people love this house, and they are like, please, I love your house, blah, 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 right? And they write an offer, but it's not quite as good as the best offer. But then you can go back to this one that wrote this love letter because you know that they love it, right? You're going to say, all right, listen, I got an offer here, or, hey, will you do this for me, right? You know they're going to do it.
You should be doing that anyways.
You should be, but you know that these people are going to do it. So, I mean, try to get your best offer out of them. I mean, I think as a buyer's agent, let's be honest. I don't really care about love letters. I will use it to my advantage as a buyer side. On the listing side, I tell my clients, don't worry about the listing letter, or, just worry about the bottom line. And I usually create a spreadsheet for my clients if I'm getting multiple offers, and it doesn't say anything about a letter in it, right? It just gives them every detail. Every detail is the same on every offer. And I forward it over to them and then say, hey, this is, I think, what the best offer is. And these are the reasons why. What is your opinion, and where do you guys kind of lie, right?
So I'll share my opinion on this because I feel like I'm just asking you a bunch of questions about it. So on the contract, it has the names. From the names, you might be able to tell race. You might be able to tell religion. You might be able to tell familial status if it's a single person or you see two people with the same last name. All of that can be used to discriminate against an offer. So there's that.
Yeah.
Additionally, I want to focus on contractual terms of the offer: sales price, closing date, yada yada yada. Now, obviously, it's not always black and white. There's some gray in there as when it comes to sellers accepting an offer. But there is a 0% chance that I am sending a buyer love letter to my sellers because I think that that's going to help them get the highest price. If I'm on the buy side, I am not going to encourage my buyers to send a love letter. If they say, hey, we wrote this, I may send it over. I might do it. But there is zero zippy benefit other than confusing the seller of sending a buyer love letter and accepting that as a selling agent.
I would say most times that's true. But, if I got an offer from some guy from Pittsburgh, no, I've seen it happen. I've seen these love letters win, right? I've seen it happen.
They work.
So they can work. I'm under if my clients really want to do it, I'm doing it, right? I'm going to do what they want. I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not going to say, like, you need to write a letter. It's going to help you, Just write an awesome offer and you'll probably get it, right? Follow my guide as far as you should do this, 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 and this. You'll probably win. If you don't, the love letter is not going to do anything.
Yeah, why not just write a better contract and stop worrying about putting a picture of your kids in the letter?
Write the strong offer.
Okay. We'll see if this, goes nationwide. I think it might.
It probably will. People will start grabbing onto it. But then, like I said, are they going to stop showing you the names?
Why are we adding extra things to the contract? This isn't even a contractual thing. It's like a 5-paragraph essay about how they both went to elementary school in the same city.
Yeah. Hey, it works. It works.
Maybe that's why they want to ban it, because they know it's working.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the third topic. This comes to us from Realtor.com. This is a cool house on Lake Huron, possibly. The title of the article is Michigan's SS Huronia is a boathouse that isn't really a boat. This is just a really cool looking house. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a picture of the house up. It essentially looks like a boat is coming out of the ground, like a boat maybe backed into the side of this beach area. It is right along Lake Ontario. It's for sale for $750,000. It is a 74-foot vessel in Augres, Michigan. And the story is actually pretty cool. A husband and wife were living there, and then the husband would always go out on the boat. This kind of sounds like you. And the wife was like, I never get to see my husband. And they were in the process of building a house, and she said something like, hey, if you're always going to be out on a boat, why not we just build a house that looks like a boat so I can at least see you? And so that is the story of the boat. And it's it looks like a really cool property. It's got the wheel inside and everything. Shawn, is this too tacky for you, or are you on board
Oh,
for this boat.
no, I'm walking the plank on this one. I'm getting off.
You don't like it?
No, the thing is, when somebody niches themselves so tightly to this, they're just not going to get it back. I mean, it's cool, it's neat, but being on a boat is being on a boat, right? There's reasons you want to go on a boat. It's because there's water around you, and you can go fishing, and you can feel the breeze in your hair, and whatever, or you can dive in off the side. This boat, you're on land, right? Hey, why don't you just go to the dock and sit on your boat? That's basically what you're doing, right? So, I get it. It's cute. It's cool. It's different. I personally don't want to be on an old boat all the time. If I'm on a boat, I want to be on the water enjoying it, getting some sun. But, to each their own. The thing is, they wanted something. They created something that's really unique and fun. I just think it's going to be really difficult to sell because you have just narrowed your buyers down to a very small amount.
1,700 square feet, 5 beds, 4 bathrooms. Really unique property.
Unique, and it's lakefront, so the funny thing is they have the front windows, right, just like a boat, and the wheel, and you look out and you're looking out over the water, which is kind of neat. There's definitely some neat aspects to this, but I think once somebody does this, just like any house that you go to that is so personalized, man, it's really difficult to sell.
So it is still on the market.
There you
Look,
go.
in the listing photos, they're in the photos. They're
chilling on the
sitting
front.
on the, is that the poop deck?
The bow.
On the bow.
Yeah.
I need to get my it's been on the market for 29 days. I need to get my my boat vocabulary.
Yeah.
Stern. Where's the stern?
Bow. Stern's in the back.
Stern's in the
Bow in
back,
front.
bows in the front. Someone's been on a boat before.
I think.
Yeah.
I ride kayaks. I mean,
I've heard Michigan is really cool in the summertime.
it is. I mean, the Great Lakes, I should say. I've never been to the Michigan lakes, but Lake Erie, very cool. I went up there. My family is from up in Lake Erie area, and when I go up, I'm like, man, this is fantastic. In the summer, it is beautiful. The water is crystal clear. There's like boats pulling up to the shore and just like they would in the Caribbean, just pulling up to a sandbar and just like chilling there for a while. You can see straight down. But those lakes are like oceans when the storms come through, right? I mean, it is, they can swallow you up pretty quickly.
My cousins, they have a house on the St. Lawrence River, kind of near upstate New York, kind of Lake Ontario, St. Lawrence, where that meets.
Oh, yeah.
And the Canadians, they're doing something kind of shady. They, like, Montreal decided to do something with the like a levee or like a lock where they wanted more ships to pass through to increase trade so that they could increase revenues. So more ships pass through, more cargo can get taxed, yada, yada, yada. So they're like, all right, let's increase the water here so that it's deeper and more ships could pass through. But unbeknownst to them, maybe they didn't know this, they raised something over here, and then all of a sudden 100 miles, 200, 300 miles down the coast, my cousin's beach went from 100 feet to 30 feet.
Wow.
Like the water, it just instantly
Yeah.
over the next couple months just it immediately rose. I think the Canadians were doing something, but this one is right on the peak. And it's interesting, I brought up Canada because it's north of Canada, like it's north of Toronto, which always caught me, by surprise when part of like the United States is like it's the
so
glove.
strange. Yeah, Michigan is up above
You
Toronto.
could probably drive across Lake Huron. You think you could drive across these 2 points in the wintertime? Like on
the lake?
water?
Yeah, possibly. That's crazy.
One of my high school teachers, he grew up in Cleveland, and he claimed that you could drive across Lake Erie in the wintertime. I don't know if that's just a thing that a teacher tells a kid, and it's like, oh, wow, you could do that. But that's what he said you could do.
Yeah, I mean that lake. I know Lake Erie gets frozen solid. There's ice fishermen. You know what I always thought is like, all right, that's the border between Canada and the U.S. How easy would it be just to go right across? I mean, is there anybody stopping you from going across? Like we have border patrol at the bridge going from Niagara Falls over, but how do you stop that whole border right there? Does it really matter? I mean, people can just go straight
I don't
across.
know. You could go through this little area here.
Anywhere. You could just land right there, right? Anywhere on
I
it.
don't
I mean,
think
if
any,
anybody knows anything about the security between Canada and the U.S. on the Great Lakes, how are they doing? How are they stopping people from going through? And, I mean, we're friendly enough for them, but I know that it's difficult to get through that bridge at Niagara Falls. So
I'd go up to Wolf Island in upstate New York. It's between like Alexandria Bay area near Kingston, Toronto, like over here. Yeah. And I think the island, Wolf Island right there, the island is Canadian. And like when you get off the ferry, there's like a dude, like a customs guy. Like you don't want to mess with him. Like someone's job is to make sure that nothing shady's happening there. But there's a lot going on, at Wolf Island compared to middle of nowhere Lake Huron.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how they do that.
Shawn's plotting his ways to get into Canada. All right, guys, we'd love to know your thoughts on this Michigan houseboat. It's still on the market. It's been on the market for 29 days. Looks like a, really cool Airbnb. I don't know if
That's actually a really good idea.
I don't know if I could I don't know if I could buy this thing and be like, yeah.
You could probably rent that out every day because that's what it's like. It's like, going to Disney World or something like that. I mean, that would be a really neat thing. I think a lot of fishermen and people would rent that out. So maybe a good investment in that standpoint, but not in the resale market probably.
Let us know what you think. Drop a comment in the comments section below. That's going to do it for us, for Shawn and myself. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.